My name is Crystal Anthony, and I am, a survivor of the West explosion. The night of the explosion, actually, I was home early, and I was on the school board, and my daughter was outside playing basketball, and she came in and said, "Mom, it's a fire in town," which that usually doesn't happen in West. And when I looked out and I seen the fire was in the direction of one of our schools. So we went out and we were parked on Haven and Reagan. So about 600 feet, I believe, 200 yards, pretty close. We were next to the nursing home when it exploded. And at the beginning, when it exploded, it blew me back and blew my daughter back, and I was on my hands and knees crawling, trying to cover her so the debris wouldn't injure either one of us. And then after we were safe, I have emergency management training, so I was assisting with the triage and along with the volunteer fire department and setting up the triage that night. Right when it exploded, the fire department came, patients were coming out of the nursing home, so we were trying to gather them in a location. At first we started in a neighbor's yard, but the way the fumes were going, we moved across the street so the fumes would go over our head. And so as they were bringing out patients, we would monitor the situation. I would also work with, if someone would come and tell me if there was a gas leak at the intermediate, I related to one of the firefighters at that particular time. Myself and one other civilian were the last two civilians to leave out that night when Sheriff McNamara and the deputy sheriff, I believe, came, and he was asking questions. And he was like, "So where was the fire? Where's the explosion?" And I pointed to him, and he was like, no, where is the explosion? I was like, "It's right there." And he was like, "We're that close?" I was like, "Yes, sir."
I responded, came here, got on bunker gear, and got as far as the high school corner up there. And this fella right here and our Chief Mitchell, were walking from the blast site, walking down that road. And so they got to the truck there, and this fella said, my back hurts. Well, he had been hit by a piece of cross tie that was blown across and hit him in the back. So I pulled up his shirt and looked him over, and I didn't see anything. And he gave me his phone. He said, "Here, call my wife, call Jeanette, and tell her I'm okay." So I did. And then Mr. Mitchell, our chief, I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "My arm hurts." And I looked at his arm, and it was had a little bit of a bump on it, and this and that and the other. And he said, "I think I need to go to the hospital." I looked around, and it was just the three of us there, and I said, "Well, come on, if you need to go to the hospital, get in my pickup, we'll go." So I took him to the hospital. Honestly, there was quite a bit of power out, and I don't know exactly where. Like I say, I left almost immediately. I went to the hospital in Waco, and I stayed there at the hospital for an hour or so. As people began to come in, I was helping to identify them, and they asked me to help put up a triage tent where they hosed everybody off, to get the chemicals off of them and so forth. Yeah. And so I did that, and then when I finally got back to West, everybody was gathered down at the community center down here. They were triaging at the football field because it did have lights, and they were bringing people out of the rest home. All of the whole town just pitched in and just. But on my way to Waco, it was a solid stream of red lights coming up north. Coming from every department, everywhere. It was just. I was amazed at the response that we got. It's unbelievable how people just pitched in and took care of things.
feel we can't forget the past, but we need to move forward, and what was the past was, and we're in the here and now, and in the future. So it's more of a celebration of where we've been in the last 8 to 10 years, and where we were. It was completed a number of years ago, and it fits the community. It's simple, yet very, very elegant, and it tells the story of not only the ones, the first responders, but also the 3 individuals that we lost as well. It's right here in the city park. It's going to be designed, these trees will grow up, and it'll be a little bit private area where people can come here and meditate and visit and just recall, not only for the families but for everyone in the community, just to remember and be thankful for everything that those guys and the lady did that day. We didn't want it to be just a bunch of talks and speeches, so we're really going to concentrate on David Perry's going to read the name off the names of everyone. He's going to be the MC, and he's going to read off the names. We're going to have the National Fallen Firefighters Association be representative. The fire department invited local agencies that help them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who is going to come and who's not. I'm sure there's going to be a number of trucks.
10 years later, it's been a journey. We did lose our home. I'm a single mom of 2, and at that particular time, I had one in college and one in middle school. So now, 10 years later, we have rebuilt. It took me a little longer than others as I was serving on the school board, so I took care of my school board duties along with trying to rebuild, and I could not juggle them both. I ended up getting my house built and moved in September 2016. One of my fellow school board members, Larry Hickle Construction, actually helped me rebuild my home, which that was great because the journey was a little harder for me. I had already lost a contractor in another organization, so him stepping up, helping me rebuild was truly a blessing. We haven't looked back since. Both of my children have now since graduated from college, and I'm working, and I did choose to come back home because West is home, and I'm glad I did, and we're back on our same lot, just in a different house that actually my daughter did design.
Out of the rubble, you look at the progress of this town, and a lot of that has to do with the brand new school that was damaged. The school was destroyed, and a new and built elementary school wasn't destroyed, wasn't damaged, but obviously the bond issue that occurred back about when the explosion happened finally took place, and we built the elementary school. Those 2 schools and junior high, along being state-of-the-art facilities, has brought a new interest into moving to West. We've got 5 different subdivisions going on right now. That's a record that I've never, as mayor since 2012, didn't have any subdivisions for years, and to have 5 pop up in the last year and a half, on all of them at this point.
How many houses does that represent?
There's probably 15 to 20
under construction
right now, which may not sound like a lot compared to Hewitt or some of those larger cities, but to West, that's the most since the explosion that was built on one time.